right, let's begin today's class. This is a lecture 9, and in today's lecture we are going to discuss the following topics. We'll be discussing globs in Hadoop. We'll be discussing the various pig operators: split, filter, distinct, for each, sample, assert, order by, limit, group by, tokenize. If time permits, we'll be having a small case study also, and of course a few polls. So let's begin by discussing what are globs in Hadoop. Okay, so globs would help you to refer to your files. If you want to refer or if you want to load multiple files with one command, then globs can help you. So two basic globs you've already worked with, that is the question mark and the star. And there are other options also, as they are being listed right on the screen right in front of you now. So question mark would match one character, would replace one character, and a star would match 0 or more characters. Apart from these two basic globs, you can also mention specific characters, like in square brackets. If you mention A, B, C, that then it would be matching files, from the character set A or B or C. You can also specify a range, like A-Z would match, all the characters from this range with A and Z both inclusive. If you want to omit any character in your search, then you can use the caret symbol. Okay, so you can refer to these globs. We will work with it. Then we have this for each operator. For each operator is a multi-purpose operator which is used for projection, for applying functions, for generating a new schema, for performing nested operations. Now it is used along with the generate keyword, okay, and it operates on one row at a time from the specified relation. It is somewhat similar to the SQL select clause that you've learned in RDBMS. And it is also known as a transformation operator because it performs transformation jobs. It transforms your relation into another relation, giving you whatever you specified in your transformation function. So the syntax for each is relation name on the left, then for each the relation name that you transform or you want to project from, and then you can mention uh, either functions, or you can generate schemas, or you can perform nested operations. We'll be working with for each, with almost every operator. Whatever we do in Pig, for each is bound to come in one way or the other. So the discussion will be there on this. Now, first thing that for each does is projection. That means if from your relation, instead of viewing all the columns, all the fields, if you want to generate certain specific fields, then you can mention their names. Okay. Then, for example, if you write for each x generate star, that it would generate all the fields from the relation x into the relation t. Then there is a flatten operator. Okay, the flatten operator is used with the generate statement to change the structure of the data from a bag to a tuple and from a tuple to a field. Okay, so we will be working with a case study based on this flatten, maybe today or in next class. Then with for each you can use functions also. There are built-in functions. You can create your own functions. Then you have certain aggregate functions like you've learned in SQL. So when you group your relation, then aggregate functions can also be used, such as sum, count, average. And you can also use built-in single row functions such as upper, lower, etc. We'll be working with all of these operators. So for each operator, the functionality is quite good. As you can see, it does multiple tasks: projection, you can use functions, you can generate a new schema, you can perform nested operations, okay, and basically it transforms your relation into a new relation. All right. Okay, let's go to our terminal now, so that side by side we can work the things on our terminal also. So as a routine, let's begin our distributed file system services. so that if we wish we can work on the cluster, or if we wish we can work on the local file system as well. So the services, the daemons are starting, and if I list the daemons now, I can see that the name node, the secondary name node, and the data node have started. So I can work with my distributed file system. That means I can begin a local host here to see the web UI of my cluster. Okay, so that is the web UI of my cluster, all the files in my distributed file system. All right, so this you are aware of this. All right, so let's begin with the globs, right? You can note the things if you wish, so that you can work with them later on. All right, so let me first view a few files. Let me list all the files beginning with say A. So I can refer a glob like this, ls a star. So here star is our glob character, and it would mean that it would list all the files beginning with A present in the current path. Excuse me. So similarly, you can do this. You can list all the files beginning with the character B star. All right. Question mark would replace one character. So say if I list all the files, okay, so you can see here the various files. Okay, look at this file. Let's pick up some. Yeah, this file. Say there is one file emp.txt. There is another file examples.desktop. Okay, so can somebody tell me what is loaded by this statement? Yeah, please answer. If I write lse double question mark, you can see the files on your screen. Which files are listed with this? emp.txt and examples.desktop both, or just one file? You can raise your hands to answer this question. Okay. Yes, Ritika, please answer. Ritika, unmute yourself and answer, please.
So only one file will be listed, emp.txt.
What it would display?
emp.txt.
See, there is no such file. Okay. So something like this would help, because I didn't mention any extension, right? So
Yes, sir.
that would be this, but we can see that beginning with E, but only maximum three characters. So m.txt in this examples.desktop does not come. And if I just do it like this, if I make it like this, then of course both the files are displayed. So these are the two globs. Okay, then we can also we can list here ls, and then we can mention here a b star. Okay, so now I'm suggesting all the files beginning with A or B. Okay, so it will list A1, A2, B1. These globs, they work in Hadoop. In this bash shell also, you can mention it in your pig statements also. Okay, so let's start a pig session in the local mode. To start a pig session in the local mode so that we can see the working of these globs. Okay, so let's in today's session I'll be focusing on a few data sets. Okay, let me list the data sets for you. So I can list here like this. So there is a data set -movies.csv. This is one movie review data set that we will discuss today. Okay, another one is, I'm using the globs for you also along with that. Okay, so there is another data set M. Another one is department. Okay, we'll be using all these data sets. Apart from that, we'll be using some text files also, so that we can discuss the working of the various operators that I listed in my presentation at the beginning of this lecture, right? So let's begin today's work in the real sense. Let me load this file, or as an example, let me just load the files A1, A2 and B1. Do you remember the files? Let me list the contents. This is the A1 file, this is the A2 file, and this is the B1 file. These three files are in my local file system. And if I want, to load these files, with one load statement, you can load multiple files. So if I need to load it, I would write something like this: load, and then obviously I'll mention this here, and then a star. Okay. So just see this load statement. It would load all the files beginning with either A or B, and would would be loaded into the relation X. So if I dump X here, if I just display its contents, it will list the same three files: A1 contents, A2 contents and B1 contents. Let's see this thing on the screen now. So you can see all the three files have been listed. So you can see the power of globs here. You can try the other globs also. All of them work either in Hadoop or in Pig, and they are used extensively actually. While because we are usually similar files having just a little distinction in their names. For example, say ABC1, ABC2, ABC3, like this. Maybe there are 100 files. So instead of loading them 100 times, you can just use a glob and load them in one load statement, and you can perform analytics with that. All right. So I hope this globs part is clear. The ones that we started with. This was the, so you need to, you work with this. You must see the working of all the options, all the globs, so that they work correctly or not. All right. Now let's focus on the for each operator. You worked with it already. So for this purpose, let us load the emp file. Okay. This is present in our local file system. We are working with Pig in the local mode. So it is a comma separated values file. So I'll use the Pig storage function. Okay. If you want, I can mention the schema also, so that we can be clear about what we are using here. So as I can write, let us make it short, emp number, say int. Then we have ename as char array. Then we have what are the other names? Ename. After that we have job. I think job as char array, right? Then we have mgr as int. What after this? I suppose it should be the higher date. Higher date right now we'll take as char array, but when we learn about the date time object, then we'll be working with actual dates also. So higher date char array. Then we have sal as float, and com also you can take as float. Okay. And the last one is the department number, which you can again take as int. So this is how we load the emp.txt with the entire complete schema. So if we just describe this, if we describe our relation, so we can see the schema here in front of us that is there for this relation X. Okay. So let's first dump it as a first task. Okay. So you can see all the values. All right, and you can see, one thing is very clear here. The meaning of these two commas here, I hope it's clear to you, right? This means that this column, that is your commission column, certain employees are not getting commission. So there we have null values. So two commas would mean there is a null value there. Kindly keep this thing in mind. And nulls are treated differently in Pig as they were treated in SQL, like you've learned it, right? So if I if I just, project now using the for each operator, say if I just project for each x generate, if I just want to generate the employee number and e-names, so I can do here like this, generate eno comma ename. So here I'm using the for each operator for projection. I'm just projecting two fields, that is my employee number field and my ename field. Okay, so if I do this and if I dump a, now only the employee number and ename would be displayed. This is one use of for each. See the e-names and the department, the other details, the char array is all in caps. It's in capitals. So you can, make some projection here, some inbuilt function. Say we can use a lower function here. Okay, and if I dump it now, you'll see the names in lowercase. Okay, so I'm using a inbuilt function. So functions can also be used with for each. Okay. Then what was the other option with this? Yeah, generating a new schema. Okay, so what I can do here is, let's say, let me do some projection here. Like I can use sal star point 2, something like this, sal plus sal star point 2 as emp number comma new sal. So this is a generating a new schema. I am projecting two columns. One is an actual column, one is a pseudo column sort of thing, where I'm projecting the salary increased by 20%. Okay, so there is some problem here. Let's see what it says here. Incompatible schema, left is emp number null, new cell null. Okay, so let's try with this. Let's see what it says, whether it allows us with this or not. No, there's some problem with this. Let's go with a simple projection first, whether it allows or not. Okay, and if we dump it now, then it will give us the employee number and the projected salaries. So maybe we can have a schema with something else. Let's do it like this. I think we use the as keyword here. Okay, we'll work with it. Let's see if we can do it once here. Otherwise, we'll see why it's not working. As say a comma b. Yeah, there's some problem with this. We'll work with it. Okay, we'll see what we can do with this. Generating a new schema with for each. We'll discuss it later today. Okay, it's not working right now. Then we have this flatten operator also I would like to discuss today with you. Is a flatten operator here, very interesting and very useful, for generating many case studies, working with many case studies. Okay, these functions count, they would be applicable only when you group your relations. So maybe later today we can do that. Okay, so next is if we want to display some filtered records. We've already done filter. Okay, let me just dump this relation X for you. And let's say I want to display names. You can listen to this query carefully, all of you. I want to display the name of the employee and the job for all the people who earn more than 2,000 rupees, whose salary is more than 2,000. I want to generate the name and job of those employees. So can somebody help me with this query? Displaying name and job of all the employees for all employees earning more than 2000 rupees. The schema here is here in front of you so that you can work with the schema. Here's the schema. Let me put it on a clear screen for you. Here's the schema. Okay. Now I want to display the name and job of all the employees earning more than 2000 rupees. So let's see who can help us with this. Yeah, I'm waiting for your response. None of you is going to tell me this thing. Let me ask Rohit, you can unmute yourself. Rohit Kumar Singh, unmute yourself. Yes, Rohit, go ahead. Please answer. So Rohit is not able to answer. Some faulty equipment may be at his side, so we can't help that. Let's ask Kushpreet. Yes, Kushpreet, go ahead. Kushpreet, unmute yourself, please. Kushpreet is not there. Maybe she is. Yeah. Gulin, unmute yourself. Mridul, I've seen your raised hand. Please wait. So these people are not with us. Gulin and Kushpreet, shall we mark them absent because they are not responding? Another try, Kushpreet. See whether you can, reach out to me. Yes, Kushpreet, unmute yourself. Kushpreet, unmute yourself. There's some problem. All right. Yeah, Mridul, go ahead.
Sir, please repeat the question.
Yeah, I already repeated it twice. Why should I repeat it again, Mridul? Are you not attentive?
Sorry, sir.
Yeah, please answer if you can.
Sir, A equal to for each.
Okay. Go
Let's
ahead.
generate. Sir, which column number?
The names are there in front of you. Why column number is required? Okay, let's ask Ritika. Yes, Ritika.
So firstly, filter X by
Yeah, very good. So first we need to filter by.
sal greater than 2000.
So that is the condition that we apply first. We filter the relation X so that only the records which satisfy this condition would come in relation A. Okay. So let's see how many records have come in A. Just look at these records. So only these records have come with salary greater than 2000. So now what we can do is we can apply a projection. Ritika, help
Yes.
me with that.
B for each A generate E name comma job.
Right. So now we can dump B to see what we want.
Yes, sir.
These are the people who are earning more than 2000 rupees. So for, if you know, for clarity's sake, you can also add a sal column here so that it is clear that they are earning more than 2000 rupees as their salaries. Right. Okay. Thank you, Ritika. So this was just a small, you see, check as I move along so that you understand whatever previous work we have done is also important. All right. So for each would be used a lot. Let's now again see what we can learn further. Then we have the limit and the assert operations. Okay, so assert you have learned in Python also is, you specify some condition there, as you can see in the presentation here. It verifies a specified condition on a relation. Okay, so you, when you are loading, Then after that you can assert some statement, and if that statement is, you know, the condition is true, if it is met, then nothing related to that relation would work. Whether you, whatever operator you try with that relation, it won't work. Okay, so if the condition is not true, like if you mention, you know, if you want to assert something that it should be there, okay, then you mention that condition, and if it is not true, then it will throw an appropriate error message. So let me work out one example for you with this assert. You can see. First, let's have a look at the limit operator. So limit is limiting the number of rows that you want to display. Okay. So if we have this relation X, as you can all see, it has got 14 rows. Okay, the M table has got 14 rows. Okay, so if I use a relation, say T is equal to limit X and then a number. So I'm saying that from the relation X, just pick up the first 5 rows and store them in relation T. Okay. And if I use a describe for T, what would be the answer? Obviously, since it is picking up, it is being, you know, made from the relation X, it will have the same schema as X. That is the automatic operation out here. And with this T, if you dump it, you will see the first 5 rows only. Okay, we have 14 rows, so we'll only see Smith, Allen, Ward, Jones, and Martin. Okay, you can see that Smith, Allen, Ward, Jones, and Martin. Only the first 5 rows are there. Okay. Now let's assert something here for relation X. Assert X by com is not null. Okay. So I have asserted something by com is not null. So if now I dump X, what will happen? Can somebody answer this question? We have null values in, okay, in our emp relation. So if I now dump X, what will it do? Will it display all the rows? Will it display the non-null rows? Will it display the null rows? What will happen? Somebody can answer this question. For your help, I can again show you the text here for your assert. Okay. So it verifies a specified condition on a relation. If a condition is not true, it throws the appropriate error message. So we have not written this error message. We can write that also, our own message. Otherwise, a system generated message is displayed. So let's see if somebody can answer this question. None of you. Okay, all right. So let's see the dump. You see, it won't let you, do anything with this. And let's read this now. Let's read the message here. What happened here? Okay. It will show the message here. What was wrong with that? Which your assert condition got. Let's read the message here. Should be here somewhere. Yeah. You can see caused by java.io.io exception, assertion violated. Okay. Okay. So your assertion has been violated. Let's now try to add a message to this assert. Okay. So we can do it like this. So we have written something like com should not be null. Let's see if it works like this. Okay, works without this. All right. Let's try single quotes. Yeah, let's try single quotes. That's okay now. So we can give the message in single quotes. So your assert statement followed by a comma and then message in single quotes. So let's do the dump again. Okay, dump again. All right. So now let's see what error message has been given here. The same, there should be some error message here. Let's look for it. Yeah, here is the error message. Let's look for our message now. Let's try to locate where our message is displayed. So obviously it is unable to open an iterator for alias X. I'm looking for my message here. Let's locate it. There's a whole lot of text out here. Some job has failed. Yeah. Okay, while I'm locating this, I'll be locating this somewhere from this text. We can have a quick poll. Okay. The first poll is there in front of you. Kindly answer fast, right? I'm going to launch the poll for you. Simple question. You just work with it. Read it carefully and then answer it. So let's continue further. I'll see where we can locate this error message. Maybe it is displayed somewhere. I'm not able to locate it. So I'll come back with it. Limit we have seen. Okay. Yeah, here we can, generate a new schema like this. I don't know why we are not able to work with it. We'll work with it soon, right? We can have some projection here and we can give the new, schemas, right? We can give it. Let's now work with some more operators here. The split operator and the sample operators. Now the split operator, listen you carefully, split is when we split something, it splits up into two things at least, right? So whenever you use split, you use it to split a relation into two or more relations. And the split is based on the condition that you would be giving, right? So split is, somewhat similar, somewhat opposite to your join functionality that you use in SQL. We'll be using joins in Pig also. Okay. So that is now the syntax here for split is split relation name into relation 1 if condition, then another relation name 2 if another condition, and so on. And in the end you can use this keyword otherwise also. So similar to your programming, all of you are good programmers, you know how to write this split. We will take one example soon with this split. We'll split up our relation into multiple relations. But remember, split when it is undertaken, it will give you minimum two relations. Okay, split splits your relation into two or more relations. Then there is this sample operator, very interesting, because sometimes when we are dealing with large data sets, our intention is to just see what is there in the data set. So we would not be wasting our time to analyze the entire data set. We can pick up a small sample from it to see how that sample responds, and if it is up to our expectations, we might go and analyze the entire data set. So the syntax for sample is simple: sample, then followed by the relation name, and then expression. Okay. If I would say the entire, the correct syntax would be an a relation on the left hand side would be there. And this expression here, as you see, this expression, this is any number between 0 and 1. Okay. Where 0 means 0% and 1 means 1%. So a value of 0.1 would mean 10%. Okay, a value of 0.1 would mean 10%. All right. So let's work with these two operators. Look carefully, all of you. Let me first use this emp data set for this, and then let me use some bigger data set to show you how sample works. Okay. Obviously sampling is based on the idea of randomization. So if you are taking samples, no two samples would be same, remember, because the idea behind samples is that we should get a different sample each time so that we can work around with it and see what it contains. Okay. So I'll work with a simple sample first of all. We have our relation X here. You can see, okay, the assert is still active. Okay. So let's see the load statement once again. You see, assert is the condition is violated, so it won't let you do anything with your relation. Let's load. Where is our load statement? Instead of writing it again, and this was our load statement. Okay. So I'm dumping it. The 14 values are there. If I take a sample here, say R is equal to sample X 0.4. What is the meaning of this, first of all? Okay. And how many rows would be there in relation R? Obviously 0.4 means a 40% sample from relation X. So can somebody tell me, like, how many rows would be there in the relation R? You can raise your hands to answer the simple question. I'm asking these questions so that you are involved in the lecture. If I keep on speaking, if I keep on doing things, won't help you. Very simple. Most of you should be able to answer this question. What's stopping you from answering? I want different people. Ritika Sharma has raised the hand. That's fine. But there are so many other students in the class. What are they doing? Just sitting, not listening to me? Okay. Narinder Pal, unmute yourself.
Yes, sir. It would list, sir, 5 rows.
5 rows. Okay.
5 or maybe 6.
5 or 6. Okay. Let's hear another guess, maybe from Ritika. Yes, Ritika.
So 5 or 6 rows.
5 or 6. I'll also make a guess. Okay. So I'll make a guess of 4 rows maybe. Okay. I'm just making a guess. Okay. Let me make a guess here and let me see what it dumps. So it gives us 4 rows. Okay. So actually, if you say 14 rows are there and 40% is 5.6 sort of thing. So you were picking it up like this. So, but it is, all randomized. Predictions can be there, but it will work according to its own wish. So let me have another go at it. Okay. So this time again we have 4. Now we have 6. See? Right? So you understand that this sampling is algorithm dependent, and usually, in most of the cases, PIC doesn't have very strong randomization algorithms for sampling. Okay, so variations would be there in this. So in the first 2 dumps we saw 4, and now we have got 6. So let's take a bigger data set. Let me load a data set for all of you. X, let be like that. Say another data set is a movie review data set with me. Okay, I will be discussing this data set for one of our case studies. This is the name of the data set. Okay, dataset-movies.csv is a comma separated values data set. So I've loaded it. See, one word of caution or some advice for you, that most of the work in today's world is being carried out on projections, on analytics, on large scale data sets. People are inferring and information is being extracted. So whatever you are studying is currently in the scheme of things in the industry. So all the more relevant that you pay, your great attention to this. If you are taking up a 2-hour class with me, the best would be to have a laptop working in front of you so that you can actually work with it, or you can have a pen and a copy and you can note down the things that we are doing, so that once you do it, these analytics would be clear in your mind, right? So my request is that please work along with me, keep on noting, and then you can refer to this video later on also. But for you to analyze data, start analyzing data, you need to work out a lot of things. You just cannot read it and you'll say that I am a data analyst. So you need to work about it. Okay. So let's see this data set now. Let's see how many rows are there. Like in EMP there were 14 rows. Let's see how many in this. Okay, I'm dumping it on screen. See how many rows? There are 49,590 records. Okay, and if I tell you what this data set is, you can note the first one is the serial number of the movie. Okay, this is a movie review data set. The first number is the serial number of the movie. The next one is the name of the movie. Okay, these are the actual movies. No, this is not a fake data. This is the actual data, right? So hundreds of data sets like this are available on net so that you can work with them. Okay. And then there is the year of release, the year in which this picture was released. If you have two commas here, then there is a null value. Otherwise, the next column after the year of release is the rating of the movie out of 5. Okay, let's pick up say a non-null value sort of, yeah, let's pick up this column 49571. The movie name is The Short Game trailer. Then 2013 is the year of release, 4.1 is a rating, okay, and 156 is the duration of the movie in seconds. As I've told you that we'll be working with the case study based on this, so kindly have a good look at it. The serial number is there, the movie name is there, the year of release of the movie is there, then we have a rating of the movie out of 5, and then the last one is the duration of the movie in seconds. Okay, now let's take a sample of this. You keep in mind, all of you, that you have 49590 records in this data set, 49,590. So I'm going to take a sample of this now, and obviously some of you would be answering it, so have a good look at it and answer this question. Yeah, okay, so I've taken this sample. Q is equal to sample by 0.01. I give you a few seconds so that you can answer this question, right? Raise your hands to answer this question. No guesses this time. Ritika, Narinder Pal. Class में 53 people are attending, so they're not answering. Let's ask Parth, see whether he's with us or he's just. Parth, are you there? You're not unmuting yourself. Parth, can you hear me? Seems like Parth is not there. He's just put the, this thing meeting on and he's just roaming here and there, right? Okay. Let's focus on the people. Yeah, Parth has raised the hand. Parth, why don't you unmute yourself?
So it was not unmuting earlier.
Okay.
Zoom
All right.
was not responding.
Okay, great. Parth, can you answer this simple question? You need to make a guess, obviously. Sample is a randomized answer, so we don't have a correct answer for this. But
So for
yeah.
this question, it would be around 500 or something.
Okay,
If I'm
very
not
good.
guessing wrong.
Around 500 is good answer. That is a good answer. Okay. Narinder Pal, once again, make a guess.
Yes, the same around 500.
Okay. चलो
Yes,
एक और आंसर ले लेते हैं रितिका से भी. Yes, Ritika.
So same answer.
Give me some number, like
490 to 500.
Okay, fine. Some more people are raising hands, so उनसे भी आंसर ले लेते हैं. Yeah. Varisha.
Around 496 to 500.
That's good. 496 to 500. Okay, let's see now. Let's dump it and see it, what it actually gives us. So obviously we cannot see this, right? You see, you cannot get the answer here. It is listed, it has given you. But what should we do? Shall we count it now? Count करें कितने हैं? 490 हैं, 500 हैं. So give me an answer, Varisha, once again. How to get the
496.
No. How to get the answer? It has listed the earlier the M table was a short one. We could count it on screen. Now do we count it on screen? How do we get the actual what rows have been returned? Any idea, Varisha?
No, sir.
Anyone else? Okay, Varisha, no problem. Anyone else? Someone who can suggest how we can see it. I want to see how many rows have been returned. Mani wants to answer. Okay. Yes, Mani, go ahead.
Sir, should we use count function for counting?
I told you count function works with its aggregate function works only after group by. We can use it, but we need to go with the group by.
Okay, sir. And can we split the relation?
No, उससे क्या होगा? Split से क्या पता चलेगा?
Uh, we can have a number of divisions.
No, no.
Okay, sir.
All right, all right. So I wish somebody could give me an answer. If somebody has worked with all these, statements in Pig, you could have given me a better answer, I suppose. I'm waiting for the answer actually. I should get an answer about this. You see, these rows are listed on the screen. I am interested in counting these rows. Okay. So whatever we have discussed before today's class, the answer is there. You use a certain operator which gives you a very good, reflection of this. So I'm going to use it now. Okay. Store Q into Z11, right? So we need to give it in. Remember this store? When you dump, displays the output on the screen, whereas store gives you the answer on in some file. So here you are mentioning a Z11 directory. Within that directory, there would be two files, a part file and a success file, if you remember. But while we are running this command, it will display on screen how many records it stores. Okay. So let's see, it will tell you. Can you see total records written? So this is the way you can see what goes into your file, what count. So total records written is 491. So almost all of you were there, correct, right? So let's go with another store. Okay. So another store would mean again a sample would be generated, right? Let's see now. Oh, what is the error here? Can somebody tell me? This you should be able to tell. I have again given the same command. So what is the error here? It says output directory already exists. Can you read it at the bottom? You see, while you are doing analytics, you need to see the error messages. There are logs for errors also, but many errors are clear on the screen itself. So with the store command, you must specify a new directory because Z11 has already been created. Okay, so let me specify Z111. So now we have 530 records. Can you see? See, I'm specifying again the 1%, but now it says 530. Okay, let's go with another sample. Now it is 522. So you can see sampling, right? It is giving you, and each time it is going to give you different samples. That is the idea behind it. Okay. So if this sample command is clear to all of you, you can give me a raised hand, all of you. If it is clear to you, you've understood the concept. You can use it with your bigger data set so that you can have a small sample and then you can work with the sample. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. What was the other one? Was split. Okay. So let's work with split now. So let's once again work with our emp relation. Okay. I'm dumping the values. I want to split. Listen very carefully. I want an answer. Want an answer for this from you, right? I want to split this relation into relations so that one relation contains employees from department number 10, another one from employees from department 20, and another one from employees for department number 30. I hope I am clear with this, the query that I want. I want to split it into three relations. One relation which contains employees from department number 10, one from department number 20, and one from department number 30. I'm waiting for your responses. That is the only way we can learn. Otherwise, I can have a class, I can tell you about 15 operators, the job done, right? That is not the idea. Once you see how they work and once you respond, then you can be very clear with their working later on while you are doing analytics. Yes, please respond. Okay, a new person, very good. Avneet. Go ahead, Avneet. Unmute yourself and answer, please. Avneet, are you able to unmute yourself?
सॉरी सर, बाय मिस्टेक हो गया.
कोई बात नहीं. हाँ जी. Yeah, please respond. Can you answer, Avneet? All right. All right. No worries. None of you can answer this. That's very surprising, actually. Okay. Yes, Ritika. Yeah, please.
Split x into x1 if depth number
We had taken it as DNO.
DNO double equals to 10, comma x2 if DNO double equals to 20, comma x3 if DNO double equals to 30,
Okay.
otherwise
Otherwise, what?
otherwise x4.
No. Otherwise, we don't need to use otherwise always. Okay. So I'll just work with this.
Semicolon.
You stay with me, right? Okay. I'll do this. So it has done some work, right? So let's see x1, x2, and x3 relations now. x1 is 10. See, department number 10. Can you see? Two
Yes,
rows
sir.
are there, right? Department number 20. We have got 6 rows, okay? And then x3, department number 30. We have got 6 rows again. Total 14 rows, 2 in 10, 6 in 20, 6 in 30. This is how we do it, right? So how to use otherwise? You can use it like this. We know that in our this thing relation, there are only 3 departments, 10, 20, and 30. So x1 if DNO equal to 10, x2 if DNO equal to 20, x3 otherwise.
Okay.
Is it clear to all of you? See, and if you just use the dumps again, you will see that this is the correct answer: 10, then 20, and then 30. Okay, so you see the use of if and otherwise. So one statement you could write like this, with all the conditions specified by you. But if the last condition is obvious, then what you can do is you can use this otherwise like this. We have gone with that. Seem to have lost it. Okay, I hope you have understood it, the split and the sample operators. Okay, let's move ahead. Next is a distinct operator. Okay, so it would remove duplicate tuples from a relation. So if in a relation you have 2 tuples which are exactly the same, okay, and if you want to pick out the distinct tuples, then you use distinct. In SQL, if you remember, distinct was applied on a field. Okay, so here in pig it is applied on a complete relation. Okay, so you don't apply it on a field in pig, you apply it on the complete relation. Okay, how we can just have a look now. So let's create a file. Let's create a new file with the values 1 Ajay 30, 2 Pooja 20, 3 Ajay. This is a duplicate tuple I have added. Not yet duplicate. Yeah, this is the duplicate tuple I have added. So these are the 4 tuples in my file AD, right? You can see the tuples 1 and 3 are the same. How distinct can work with them? Let's load this file first. Say f is equal to load AD. That's it. Okay. So it's not a comma separated, so no need to use some pig storage function. It is a tab separated file. So if I dump it, you can see there are the 4 rows that I have added. You can see the first and 3 tuples are the same. So if I want a distinct answer out of it, I can use something like E You can note this distinct F, what we used. I hope we've used F. Yeah. So if I dump E now, the duplicate would go, only the distinct rows would be there. Right? So this is where you can use the distinct operator out here. Kindly tell me if I'm too fast with my screen switching. Maybe you need to tell me that whether you are able to view the screen while I'm projecting certain things. If you are able, if my speed is okay, just give me a signal by raising your hands. You can see it. All right, all right, all right. Sometimes I feel that I'm going too fast with my screen switching. So all right, thank you very much. Let's go with some another interesting operator now. That is the rank operator. Okay, the rank operator. So you see, ranking is very important while we are analyzing things. If we are going to rank certain companies, okay, then obviously ranking would be there based on some criteria. So you can use this rank operator to provide a rank to every tuple of the specified relation. And by default, rank starts from 1. Okay, and now the syntax is simple. Rank relation. Simple would be that, minimum would be there, rank relation. Then obviously if there are 14 rows in M table, it will give rank starting from 1 for the first row, second for the second row, and so on. Okay, that is if you don't specify any field name. You can also specify a field name for ranking. Then you can specify an ascending or a descending order, right? You can rank on multiple fields also, like if you rank on 2 fields, then first field would be the primary ranking field, and if 2 primary ranking fields are same, then the criteria shifts to the secondary ranking. All right, so let's see this rank operator, very interesting. And then we'll also discuss this dense option here that you see in the end in the syntax. The dense option is there, we'll see that also. Okay, let's see the ranking. Let's start with a simple one. The relation X is there with our M. Okay, so let me just first rank it like simply R is equal to rank X. Okay, what will happen with this? Can somebody tell me, if I dump R, what ranks would be given to all these rows? To Smith, to Ellen, to these rows, what ranks would be there? If I don't mention any field, then the first row gets the first rank, the second row gets the second rank, and so on. So in front, before 7369, another value would be added. It would be 1 comma 7369 comma Smith comma Clerk, 2 comma 7499 comma Ellen, like this. Okay, see it on screen. Okay, so it has given 14 ranks to the 14 tuples. You didn't specify any criteria for ranking, so it has just ranked them in that serial order. Okay, and obviously this ranking is of no use to us. Okay, so let's rank this on the basis of salary. Okay, on the basis of salary. So what would we write here? R is equal to rank X by sal. Okay, what would be the output now? Please, the rows are there in front of you. Kindly tell me which first 3 rows would be there with ranks 1, 2, and 3. See, if you have not mentioned ascending or descending, by default the ranks would be in ascending order, minimum to maximum. Okay, so I'm ranking X by sal. So can somebody tell me what would be the first 3 rows, first 3 ranks would be given to which employee? You see, you need to respond this. Are you, I don't know whether you are listening intently to me or not. I'm assuming that most of you are listening very intently to me. I know that. Okay, but like most of you are not answering. That's not good. You must participate. The same people are answering now. Ritika and Mani have raised their hands. What about others? Okay, let's hear from, yeah, somebody else has raised hand. Sonam has raised hand. Okay, go ahead, Sonam.
Sir, first of will be king. Row number
First would,
9.
first would be,
King.
first would be king. Okay, good.
And Scott.
Go ahead.
Scott.
Then you say Scott. Okay.
And then 34.
Okay. Thank you, Sonam. I've heard you. Let's see what Money has to say.
Same, sir. First, king will come, and then Scott, and third.
Okay, okay. Fine, fine, fine. Let's hear Ritika now.
Okay.
Yes, Ritika.
So first Smith, then James, then Adams.
Okay, so you suggest first Smith with a salary 800, then James with a salary of 950, and then,
Yes. Adams with salary 1100.
okay, let's see, let's dump it. See, the answer is Smith, James, and Adams. Okay, so let's see why Sonam and Money went wrong, because I told you I use this command. So when I don't mention an ascending or descending order, then the idea is in ascending order, and I told you ascending means minimum to maximum. So you can see the salaries: minimum 800, then 950, then 1100, then 1250, then 1250, then 1300, and so on. Okay, so if I want actually, like the actual would, we would say find the people with the maximum, in that order, maximum to minimum, then you must write something like this. Okay, rank X by Sal descending. Okay, so if now you dump it, obviously what Sonam and Money answered, the output would come like that. So if Sonam and Money have understood their mistake, they can raise their hands. Yeah, the idea is to answer. You see, Money and Sonam, that's very good that you're answering. So that's in the same spirit. I want all of you to answer, whether incorrect or correct doesn't matter. You're trying now. Now you've understood this concept very clearly. That ranking is like this. Now, what is peculiar in this output? Can all of you notice this thing? Rank 1 is given to King. Since Scott and Ford have got the same salary, so they both have given ranks 2. And that is actually how we go with our ranks. If you remember in school, if one person is first and next two people are having the same marks, then both of them are ranked as second, and the next after them is ranked as fourth. That is the ranking. Okay, but if you wish, no, we want a ranking like 1, 2, 2, 3, like this. Okay, right now it is 1, 2, 2, 4. So we are missing ranks here. Okay, so if you want ranks to be continuous, then you can use a dense keyword here. Okay, dense keyword here. If I use dense, let's see what it displays now. Okay, now the ranks are continuous. So you understand what dense does, how ranking is done, what is ascending and descending. If you have understood this rank operator, and if there are no questions on it, you can raise your hands, all of you. Yeah, I think we have learned it in a good way. Okay, so use this operator, it is good, Okay, so if you have understood, okay, one question. Yeah, lower your hands, all of you. Pavan, Ravi, thank you, Navreen. One very interesting question. Let's see who can apply some brain to answer this. I want the highest earning manager. I want to list the highest earning manager. Take your time, take some 30 seconds to understand this, and then you can raise your hands. I repeat, I want to display the highest earning manager. You can see it on screen. Who is the highest earning manager? Can you see? Yes, we can see it is Jones, right? Highest earning manager is Jones, 2975. I want to write a query or a pig script for this. Kindly help me. This is how we go with our real analytics. Who is the highest buying customer from Amritsar? This is an actual query I'm telling you. Okay, so which area has customers who buy the maximum from our store, from our online store. So we will target those customers in a better way. We will give them more messages, right? Something like this. So this query here is highest earning manager. I want to display the highest earning manager. Waiting for your answers. See, I told you in our previous discussions, we have learned that Pig is a data flow language. So just see the flow, what you need to do. That's it. I definitely expect an answer from most of you. All of you, Parth, Satkuvar, Yash, Udewal, Yash, Alani, Simar, Simran, सब बच्चे बहुत सब, all of you are good. Mridul, Nancy, Guleen, Rohit Kumar Singh. I don't know whether Rohit is with us. Rohit, if you are with us, you can raise your hands because we were not able to talk to you earlier. If you are there, you can raise your hand, we'll know. Yeah, but then you didn't speak to us in the beginning. Okay, I am going to unmute you now, okay? Yeah, talk to me, Rohit.
Hello. Good
Yes,
morning,
Rohit.
sir.
Good morning. पहले आप मिले नहीं रोहित
Am I
कहाँ थे
audible?
आप? Yeah, you are audible, Rohit.
Yes, sir. Earlier, sir, phone से कर रहा था मैं तो उसमें प्रॉब्लम आ रहा है कुछ.
Okay, this is better. ये इसी से करो. लैपटॉप अच्छा है आपका ये है ना?
Yes, sir.
We can hear you clearly. Okay. Do you have an answer for this, Rohit? What
No,
is
sir.
the...
I'm thinking for this.
Okay, okay. All right, all right. चलिए. Last 10 seconds. Otherwise, then I have to answer, which I don't like. Highest earning manager. It's simple, I suppose. Ritika is going to try. Okay. Yes, Ritika. Ritika, first
Yes.
tell us how would you do it, okay? Then the operations will hear from you.
So firstly, we'll filter by manager job,
Okay, filter
and
by
then
job equal to manager, good,
we will rank it
very good.
and display the first row by head command. If
Okay, 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 okay. Head command, okay. Let's see it, okay? So A is equal to, Ritika, please speak, filter.
filter X by job double equals to single quote manager.
Okay. This is A filtered, okay, then?
Then B equals to rank A by highest salary by sal DESC.
Okay. The third one I'm not very clear will work or not, but you speak it out.
Head B.
It is something that we have learned today itself, Ritika, if you pay attention. Okay, Ritika, tell me how many rows are there in relation B right now?
Manager. 3 rows are there.
3 rows are there, right? So
Yes,
we can use a limit. We have learned
Oh,
this limit
yes, sir.
operation, right? So what we can do is limit B1. That's it, right?
Yes, sir.
And if I dump C now, you will see the answer as Jones, right? I hope it gives the answer as Jones, right? Good one.
Yes, sir.
All of you have liked this query because this is an actual real-time query. Then you can give me a raised hand indicating that you've understood and it's interesting. You can give me a raised hand for both accounts. All right, great, great, great. Very good, very good. It's always a pleasure to, discuss big data with especially 5 CSE2. You are a very, your response is very good. I like it most of the times. But I want you to increase your response. Shaman has raised hands. Yes, Shaman. Shaman, nahi. Achha, this just by chance. Okay, okay, fine. Let's try another of these queries. Okay. Listen to the query. Okay, you can write it down also. You see, I'll be giving you full-fledged case studies. I'll be discussing them with you. At least 5 case studies I'll discuss with 5 good data sets. Okay. But before that, you should be ready for that discussion. While we are discussing case studies, you should not be just at the listening end. You should be discussing it with me. So I'm preparing you for that. And by doing that, we'll also finish our syllabus, right? Currently, we are into 4th unit. We'll finish our syllabus also, and we'll work with a lot of case studies also, so that you can work with this thing later on when you need it at your workplace. You should not be, found wanting, you don't know it. Okay. So write the query now. Let me just dump the table, it always helps. Yeah. So I want to display employee number, e-name and job of all salesmen who don't earn a commission. I want to display name, employee number, name and job of all salesmen who don't earn a commission. Simple query I've given, but let's, just interact on it. Because if I start group by today, things should be confusing. Okay. Group by, I don't know whether in SQL you understood or not. I tried my level best to make you, understand group by. Group by is a very powerful tool actually. Okay. So the next thing after this rank and order by is I switch to group by. But before that, I want to be clear that you have understood these basic operations of data flow. I want to display those employees, their employee numbers, e-names and jobs who don't earn a commission. Waiting for your response. You can just, I can also describe this for you so that you can see the field names. There is some power issue. Power is gone. If you can hear me, you can just give me a raised hand so that I can just switch it to my hotspot. I don't know whether how fast it will switch. Can you see my screen back, all of you? Raise your hands if you can see my screen. Yeah, thank you. Thanks. Let's work again. Lower your hands and raise hands to answer the query that I asked you, please. Thank you. Currently, Parth, Prabjot, Navreen, they have raised their hands. Is it to answer? Is it to answer the query? If not, then you can lower it. Okay, Parth, you can answer. Mani, you can answer.
Sir, first we'll filter the relation by commission is null.
Okay, so we filter X by com is null. Fine.
And then we will operate on projection.
Okay. Then we operate on projection. For each A, then am I audible? Am I audible to you? Okay. There were some problems with power once again. All right. For each A, generate emp number. Mani, unmute yourself, please. Yeah. Mani, unmute yourself. Mani, can you hear me? Ritika, unmute yourself.
Yes, sir.
What we need to project, emp number, comma,
E-name and job.
emp number is not there. I think ENO is there, right?
ENO.
Yeah. So let's dump B. So these are the people. So 7 records are there. Are there 7 records? Yeah. So 7 records are there with null values. Okay, let's move ahead. Let's move forward. One more operator and then we'll have a poll break sort of, Let's discuss this order by. Okay. So order by is similar to your order by of SQL. If you need to order your rows, okay. Ranking is to provide ranks. Order is to how they would appear, the order of their appearance. So you can specify a field or you can specify multiple fields. You can specify ascending, descending order. And further for admin type jobs, you can specify the number of reduced tasks, parallel n with that parallel option. So we won't be going with this parallel n option. So order relation name by the star would mean in journal all. Okay, so it will take the first row as the first one. But usually we go with the field names and ascending and descending. Okay, so let's try this on our emp table. First, let's see the values and then put them in some order. Order, we have order X by what would be the answer here? I've ordered X by com, that is commission. Remember, there are null values in commission also. So my question is whether highest commission would come first or null values would come first. Can somebody answer this question? Yes, Mani.
Sir, I think error would come.
Why so, Mani? Why an error should come here? We
Because
can
sir,
we can have null values in our data sets. They are always there.
yes, sir. But sir, we cannot operate on null values because
Why
it's
we
not
can?
equal to the.
Who's told you? You operated with your query when
No, sir. I mean to say like arithmetic operations.
we are not doing any arithmetic operation here. We are just ordering. What is the arithmetic operation here?
Sir, order mean to say it will be on. It will be in ascending or descending.
It will be in ascending. I have not mentioned anything. Okay.
So by default it would be.
Okay. Let's hear from Varisha. I listened to your answer. Oh, so many people now. Very good. So let's hear from Varisha first. Yes, Varisha. Varisha, you can unmute yourself.
Sir, it would be in the form of ascending order.
All right. And what I'm saying, what would be the first record? Kindly suggest. What would be the first record, Varisha?
Smith, maybe.
Maybe Smith. Okay. Let's take another answer from Mridul. Yes, Mridul. Mridul, please unmute yourself.
So Martin.
First would be Martin. Because आपको लगता है कि वो बहुत ज़्यादा commission ले रहा है. So you are suggesting, no, but that would be a descending order. हमने तो order ही ascending दिया है. So even if it is people who earn commission first, it should be from the lower side, Mridul. So let's ask Ritika now. One final answer from Ritika. Yes, Ritika.
The null values will be considered the lowest, so Smith will come first.
Okay, so first there are total 14 rows. 7 of them are having commission as nulls. So you're suggesting 7 rows of null values would be first and then the later on, right? So let's see.
Yes, sir.
So that's a perfect answer. First, all the null values, okay, because nulls are considered as minimum, okay. So nulls first, and then in ascending order you can see 100 is the commission, 100, 200, 300, 300, 500 and 1400. So if I make it in a descending order, then I think you can predict now it would be the other way around, nulls at the end, okay, nulls at the end. So I hope this ordering is clear to you, ascending and descending, and the idea behind null values also, okay. So that is all for today's operators. Let's now discuss some different type of operator which we'll be using in some case studies, right? So, but before that, let's have a quick 1 or 2 polls, I think. How many are left? Let's have a look. So be ready for polls, all of you. Let's have the third poll. It's there in front of you now. Simple one. You should be able to get it correctly. The last 5 seconds for you now. Ending the poll now. Sharing the results with you of the poll. 84% of you are correct. Split is used to split a relation into 2 or more relations, right? The last poll for the day. Do it carefully. The poll is there in front of you now. Last 5 seconds now. Finish your answers. Finish your poll, please. I'm going to end the poll now. So the correct answer is 25% because I said any value is between 0 and 1. 0 is 0%, 1 is 100%. So a value of 0.1 would be 10%, 0.2 20%. So 0.25 is 25%. The 25% is the correct option, which 78% of you have picked it up. So thank you very much for this poll, right? So let's see what else can we do today. There is a group by operator, okay? So which I have not discussed with my other class also, because we had a shortened class on Tuesday. So I'll discuss flatten operator with you, because we need to do a case study based on this flatten operator. Okay. Let me list a file for you that I made for this flatten operator. I have a text file with me. Hello, how are you? I am fine. Go to college, come back. I've written all this in this. Right? Remember, we also have a word count in pig pending. Okay, so I told you when we are ready for that, we'll be doing that word count problem. Okay, so let's first work and see what this flatten operator does. Okay, so usually with flatten we used a tokenize operator. Okay, so let's see what I'm going to do with this. I'm going to load this file in a relation Z. Okay, I'm going to load this in a relation Z. So let's load this. Okay, let me name it like this. Okay, I've loaded this file test in relation Z. Let me dump Z to see whether it displays something. So can you see it displays these four rows? Hello, how are you? I am fine. And you can see the contents were this. Okay, so this is what it does. Okay, I've loaded this file with this command. All right, then let me use this projection. I told you that we can use flatten with projection. So for each Z, generate, there is a tokenize function. Okay, so let's see what it does. For each Z, generate tokenized line as token char array. No. So I just use this tokenize function. So now you would wonder what this tokenize function does. For that, the easiest way before we learn anything is to dump and see what is there in A. What is stored in A now. And remember what is there in our, let's first dump Z so that you remember what's there. There are 4 tuples, and in one tuple we have hello, how are you? In another one we have I am fine, like this. If I want to split this line, every this text into words, so that would be done with my tokenize command. Okay, so let's tokenize was in A. So let's see what is there in it. See now, it has split that line, the words. Okay, it has made a bag of tuples. Okay, a bag of tuples. Now we are not very clear with bag. Okay, so let's go to our PDFs. Let's look for this PDF is already there with you. I don't know whether you studied it or not. This PDF is already there with you. So this is our tokenize function. Okay, so it splits a string into tokens and outputs as a bag of tokens. Okay, so for example, it has taken this example where there are 3 lines in this file, lines of text. Listen very carefully, because this should be used for 3 or 4 of your problem statements, problem case studies, right? This tokenize and flatten operators, tokenize function and flatten operator. So we have a file, lines of text, which contains, this is a line of text, yet another line of text, third line of words, something like this. We load it like this. Okay, and then we generate, we use this tokenize function like this. So you see, like in our file, it is also each row, you see each row is a bag of words. Okay, so bag is something that you put in curly braces, if you remember our earlier lectures. Okay, and bag would also be useful when we are discussing our group by operator. Okay, so this is what tokenize function does. This is your original file. When you tokenize it, it becomes like this. Okay, And if next you use flatten on this, okay, it will move each word to a new line. If you use flatten on it, okay, look carefully, the flatten operator. So if we use this flatten on this token bag operator, it will do it like this. Okay, this will flatten the bag. Okay, all right. So let's go back here and let's use flatten on A. So let's use E is equal to for each A generate flatten, and let's use $0. Okay, let's hope it works. Let's dump E. So you see now how what it has done. It has flattened all the the whatever was there in the bag. It has flattened it. Let's see all the three outputs again so that we are clear. This was our original file. Okay, having 4 lines. Hello, how are you? I am fine. Go to college. Come back. So when I tokenize it, okay, then this becomes hello, how are you? These 4 words, they become different. They are tokenized and they are in a bag. See now, this is the outcome of tokenize. And if what was the name? E. Okay. So if I flatten it, this each word shifts to a new line. Okay. Hello in one line, how in one line, are in one line, you in one line. See now. Okay. So can you tell me, any one of you, can you suggest what we can do with this? So that I can discuss, let's discuss a case study, a small one today itself, right? With this tokenize, flatten and tokenize. Can somebody suggest what I can do with it? Can it be used for word count? Can it be used for word count? Okay. Yes, Ritika, please answer.
Yes, sir, it can be used for word
Okay.
count.
What else, Ritika? What else we can do with it?
We can check for the number of words in a file,
Number of words in a file.
total words.
That is what word count is.
But that is for the count of each word.
Yeah, word count is count of each word. What are you suggesting?
Total words in a file.
Total words in a file. How we can do that?
By storing it in a file, and then it will display the number of rows.
Okay. Okay. Let's see what we can do with it. Now listen very carefully, all of you. Let's discuss a case study. Okay. That is the only way we can know. So this is a case study. Okay, most occurred start letter in a text file. Okay, so we will use a large text file for this, and what we need to do is we need to create relevant script file and write all the pig commands in it. Okay, so some steps have been told to you. Okay, this I'll discuss, but what I want you to know is that once you've reached here, once you've tokenized the text and you've flattened it, okay, then after this you can do 2-3 types of activities which would be referred to as 2-3 case studies. So let's just see one of those. I hope you are all with me. If yes, you can give me a raised hand, because to build up this case study I need to go slow, right? Yeah, thank you, you are always there, I know that. Oh, group by is coming here. Group by is coming here. No, I don't intend to do this group by today with you. Let's look for another file. let's look for word count sort of thing. We can do it without no, again group by is coming. Okay, easier way is we start group by today, right? Because we cannot reach all these case studies without group by. So let's start group by. So group by, as you see, it groups your relation, like it groups your relation into uh, some criteria based on the field names, that you say that group this relation by this field. Okay, so group can be made by specifying a field name option or by specifying an all option. And there are other options also which we won't be using because we are not working on an actual cluster where there are reducers and partitioners. So we won't be using the other options. For us, the syntax would be group relation name. Then either we write the word all or we write by field names. Okay. And the other options are there. If you want to just read them, you can read them on screen right now. So I'll take a simple example of group by with the M table. Because you've already worked with group by in SQL, it would be easier for you to understand it. So let's dump this relation X, okay, and let's group it on the basis of department numbers, okay. And I want you to specially see the output of this, okay. The syntax is simple, okay. R is equal to group X by DN. Okay, so it has grouped this relation X on the basis of DNO. My first question, how many groups would be there? A simple question, but I would like to have an answer from you. How many groups would be there? The data is there in front of you. The command is there in front of you. How many groups would be there if I, okay. So we have Narinder Pal answering this question. Yes, Narinder.
Sir, 3.
3 groups would be there because we are grouping on department number. So only 3 departments are there. Okay. So importantly, have a look at, okay, let's have a look at the describe option first. See now, describe option. You need to be very careful with this because once you understand what group by does, only then you can do a lot of other things. That's very important for you to understand what a group does. So when you group a relation, and you get a new relation, the new relation contains 2 things. Very carefully listen this. When you group a relation into a new relation, the new relation contains 2 things. One is the column group. Okay, one is the group column, and the second one is a bag of the original relation. So you grouped on X, so you can see here the relation R has 2 columns. One is with the name as group. One is with the name as group, and the other one is a bag. The name of the bag is X. Okay, and it contains all the columns of the relation X. Very important. ये बात समझ में आएगी तभी हम आगे समझ पाएंगे. ठीक है. So जो हम group by करते हैं, then the resulting relation. Ritik, just switch off your video. What is the problem with you? Ritik, you can't control your video, beta. Ritik, are you listening? Okay, so once we group, then the resulting relation has 2 things, 2 columns. One is the column named group, and the other one is a bag. The name of the bag is the relation on which you grouped, and it contains, the bag contains all the columns, all the information. Okay, right? So if I dump R now, look carefully on the screen. If I dump R, see the output. Can you see here now? Let's see this output very clearly. The first group is 10. Okay. To refer to this 10, the name of the column is group. Remember, right? So this is the group, and within this it will have the bag of tuples. All the employees who are in department 10 would be listed here in a bag. So in a bag, the first tuple is 7839 king president, like this. The second tuple in the bag is 7782 like this. Okay. So if you have understood this thing, okay, you can give me a raised hand. Only then I can go forward from this point. That is the first basic thing in group by. You're giving me a raised hand, but I'll once again I repeat so that it is clear, because what we do from here onwards would be, based on how you've understood this. I repeat, we have a relation X, okay, which contains our emp.txt file. Look on screen, all of you now. We have a relation X which contains your emp.txt file. So if I group X by say DNO, so I'm making it on the basis of the department number. And if I describe A now, you can see that A contains two columns. One is name with the name as group, and since you made the group on the basis of DNO, so its type is automatically taken as the type of DNO, that is int. So group colon int. And the second one is a bag of tuples. To refer to that bag, you must preceded by this relation name X. That is the importance of this. The bag is with the name as X, and bag is formed on the relation on which you grouped your data. This is important. Okay. And if finally if I dump this A, you will see the values. Okay. The first group 10, and then the bag of tuples here. How many, whatever tuples are there, they are in the shape of a bag. Same is with other ones. So now let's see, you were saying count. So if we want to count the employees, okay, what we can do here is look at this output very carefully, all of you. I'm going to project something for you now. For each A, generate, if I write here group, comma, count, okay. If I want to count the salaries column, that how many salaries are there in each group, how many, okay, I want to count how many total, people receive salaries. So what I should write here, can somebody suggest me here what to write here? Okay, if I just write here X, will it work? I've just written X here. Okay, so let's see now whether it works or not. Can you see? It has counted the total number of tuples in each group. See now what I said. I said I want to display the group, so I've written the group word here. Then count. Okay, if I want to count all the values in the group, okay, then I need to write here X here. Now let's suppose I write something like X dot sal. What is the output here now? See, please keep on noting the outputs. Oh, that means all people are receiving salary. Let me write here com. Answers from your side now. What will be the output? The last question for today, we will finish in the next 5 to 7 minutes. What will be the output now? No answer? No answer? let me ask you then, Guleen, unmute yourself. Guleen Kaur, unmute yourself.
Yes, sir.
Guleen, can you give me an answer for this? I'm counting the values in x.com, and you remember that the com column has null values also.
Yes, sir.
Will it count those null values?
सर null and not null का अलग अलग group होगा.
Okay, let's see the output. See, in 10 we have 0, in 20 we have 3, in 30 we have 4. This is very interesting output, right? So that means in department 10 we have 0. Okay, we are counting commission, so nobody is getting commission in department 10. 3 people in department 20 and 4 people in department 30. That means it is not counting the nulls. The count function does not count nulls. Remember? Similarly, there is a count underscore star function, similar to your SQL and Python functionality, if you remember, right? So if I want to count the nulls also, all the values present in my column com, if I want to count it along with the null values, then I use a count underscore star function. See the output of the count function, it is there 10, 0, 23, 34. And now see the output of count star. Clear now? It is now showing the null values also. I think the concept is clear to you that count function counts only the non-null values from a column, whereas the count underscore star function, it counts null as well as non-null values. And remember, when I write simply the relation name here in my count function, I'm not specifying any column here, then obviously it will tell the total number of values in my relation R. And I need to write the relation name X here on which I grouped my relation. Very important that because this I have written X here because I'm going to project from A. Okay, I'm going to project from A, and A has a structure like this. A has a structure like this, where there are two things in A. One is a group, we refer to it by group. One is a bag with the name of the original relation, that is X here. Okay, so that's why I need to go like this. If I have written this command from the relation A, I'm generating group and I'm counting the total number of values in each group. To count that, I need to write X, the table name here. If I want to go with a specific column, like say for example com, then if I dump R, I'll see only the non-null values. So out of total 14, I just see the 7 values here. Okay, and if I make it count underscore star, okay, if I dump it, then I'll see the entire values. So we'll continue with this group by operator in our next class. Okay, and any questions related to today's lectures would be also welcome in the beginning of the next class. And please practice all these things on your cluster. It would be beneficial for you. So I end today's meeting now. Okay, thank you very much, all of you.